picked the Lucian Thresh combo and wanted that safe lane down bottom, and they also banned away the Caitlyn. So there really wasn't anything that could hold toe-to-toe with it in lane.
Right. And that's why I was thinking Tristana more so than Kog'Maw, that even though Kog fits the comp, it doesn't fit the lane, and having weak lanes is really tough when your opponents are good at squeezing advantages out of you. So for 4EVERZENZYG's sake, let's hope they get a little bit more early game for themselves. Lee Sin still removed from Rollick Head, Xerath still away from Watt to Fox, though of course his Orianna was still plenty scary.
Yeah, they actually banned the Lee Sin this time on Kikis' side.
Oh yeah.
When it was banned away by 4EVERZENZYG last time. They are going to still go with the Caitlyn, and then puts a priority on Lucian once again for them.
We'll see, yeah, and I mean, I feel like you can first pick Lucian here in this case. Obviously the top lane picks didn't matter, the mid lane picks didn't matter much either, so I feel like you can tunnel back on that very easily as SKP. 4EVERZENZYG, they could choose to ban Lucian, as weird as that sounds, just to create a better lane situation, or they say, Kobe, what can you play little win lane here and hold up in a bit of a better spot, and maybe they play for that. But I think, yeah, the dual lane looking good is very important.
Yeah, I was thinking if you ban Lucian, you have to ban Kassadin next, or at least some place when you're playing red side. So I want Watt to Fox to have that. He's a very good Kassadin player. He actually got his hands on it previously and just wrecked with it. He went 10-3 and 13.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you could bait the first pick Kassadin, just give yourself better matchups elsewhere. Like, it is a choice that you can make if you're like, they're going to tunnel him at AD carry, let's throw a bait out there and hope we get a matchup, but it is, of course, a big risk. Kog'Maw actually ban comes through. I'm surprised just because they dealt with it so easily last time, but gotta look at the last ban to come through then and what these guys want to play.
So they're very confident in Watt to Fox's ability to beat Senkux in lane, because they aren't throwing any bans that way. Instead, they're more concerned with the Z's, who I think the original team was actually named after him. Z's is alive. Him being the carry for the team. He's carried them to success multiple times. Previous challenger scene, highest KDA on his team, I believe, back.
That though, look at the picks that just came through. Lucian did get banned, but SKP already auto-locked being banned. They wouldn't have gone for that. The Aurelia, the important matchup here for Smitty, wants to crush that top lane again.
But that leaves the Gragas open. Lucian, Kog, Caitlyn, there isn't a whole on this team. He's a 7.5, even with some losing games under his belt.
Sure. That's different. Like, Aurelia, I'm pretty sure, was available in Champ Select last game. Didn't even care about it. Lulu actually is still up, for example. Doesn't matter. They're just like, yeah. Got a last time, said, you know what, never mind, it'll actually be Braum. 380.
Yeah, the Corki's still available. They could go for something like Jinx. Time. You can go with the Twitch. Yeah, I think Corki's the one to go.
Or laning power.
Yeah. He's kind of like right below those top two.
A little bit more team fighty themselves. I think it actually matters a whole lot how well Gragas does against Aurelia, because team fight teams only work if you don't get split pushed to death. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Wonderwear, who did not have a great lane last time. Needs to make up for it. Or he's actually going to take their time with their AD carry pick, interestingly enough. They go for the Vi pickup there for the jungle.
It's also going to be
that one away.
It's also going to be a ball delivery system.
Yeah, it is.
So he can get that into the back line. There's also a little dissonance in this team between the Orianna and the Gragas ultimates, seeing how they line up with one another. And it's going to be Kikis taking the Elise here. Elise is one of those champions right now that when you pick it, you say, I'm going to go fight you in the jungle level 3. I'm going to come after you and apply pressure to you. And I know Santorin on Coast does this all the time.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is the playstyle Kikis in the first place. He does play heavily aggressive, looks for fights all the time, and it's so far largely worked out. So I'm going to trust his judgment for the most part in this game, and if his Elise is going to invade and do well, then more power to him. SKP to make their last choice now. They've got a great split pusher in Aurelia. They insta-locked it as fast as possible for Smitty here. The rest of their lineup is kind of well-rounded, like good early, but doesn't do anything all that special. And they're actually going to continue the sort of spread-apart pick-off team composition by going Twisted Fate in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's going to go with TF, Ghost Flash for himself. And now this really puts pressure on who do you pick down bottom, because it has to be pretty safe. I think Tristana might be where you go with this. Twitch is going to be an awful choice here. Now that Twisted Fate's on the field, he's going to kind of force that pick.
So Trish is pretty safe here. I think this works out overall. The difficulty is now that these teams are going to do very, very different things. SKP split apart, Aurelia very much individual, split people off, pull attention to yourself, work around the teleports. Aurelia, of course, a great dive support. If you go in with like a TF gank, Aurelia can jump onto the turret, right? Can get plenty of work done to whomever you try to dive. Corki Thresh, very, very safe lane, good laning, and then also so hard to catch. Like, SKP are very well built around TF getting a bunch of ganks down. 4EVERZENZYG really want a team fight, but they've got to withstand the picks in the meantime.
Yeah. SKP, what their comp looks like is we're going to pick you off with Elise, Thresh, Twisted Fate. We're going to have Aurelia scale and be a little bit of an insurance policy. Up against Gragas, she might have a little bit of a hard time, but we'll have to see how that one hashes itself out. Corki has some late game wave clear for them, but the big thing here is that 4EVERZENZYG has a comp that really comes together in terms of AoE, but then it also disperses and splits people up with the Gragas ultimate.
Yeah.
Keep Tristana safe, dive the backline, and have threats present inside of your team, or the enemy team, while your backline is just dealing out damage the entire time.
And this is going to be the fun thing to watch for then, is how well do the individual plays come out? Because there's a couple of interesting dynamics as well with what's happening. First of all, Sweaty Bee can protect people very easily if he plays it right? Stand behind me, Unbreakable comes out, can block gold cards, can block cocoons. If one stun lands, he can protect further damage from coming through. Pretty much everyone's got to get through that somehow, and it can't just be Aurelia.
Yeah.
So that's the big point. The other one as well is you have Orianna, who's a good defender, actually. Command Protect is a great spell to keep people alive. If you do dive on someone with, like, Aurelia plus Elise, then you can shockwave them and kind of create some space for your guys to get out. Even if you repel up in the air and dodge the damage, you've still got to deal with dissonance coming down and slowing you afterwards. So there are ways for SKP to outplay the picks, to regroup and deal with the fights as they come in and keep their members alive throughout that. So it's up to individual play and playing the game your team wants to play it.
Yeah, they kind of swapped roles in terms of what the teams accomplish. SKP is doing the pick game, and 4EVERZENZYG is now doing the team fight AoE composition with some follow-up on the AD carry. And they do have fantastic scaling here on both teams, actually. I do give a little edge to 4EVERZENZYG, though.
Yeah,
in that regard.
I kind of agree. Tristana, Orianna are two of my favorite late game champions. Ori she actually, for being a utility mid laner, provides so much damage.
And has a very good comeback mechanic. Even if you're down, one good shockwave can spin the entire game.
Absolutely it can. So there's all kinds of interesting games going on here. And the cool thing about like Gragas Orianna, I know people talk about anti-synergy, where it's like you have a knockback with a champion who wants to put everyone together. Same invade, actually, by the way, for SKP. Exact same set of invades. They just want to know the jungle route of their opposing jungler. But people talk about anti-synergy with Gragas Orianna. Knockback versus suck in. The thing is, though, with most top laners, aside from like basically the big dragon fights, your top laners are not typically involved in team fights. They're typically 4-on-4s. And in fact, if you have the better top laner, the one who's winning the matchup, you can force 4-on-4s by saying if you try to group up as 5, you'll lose turrets here. TF, Corki, Tristana, and Orianna, great wave clears so that you can defend 4v5s. And so whoever gets a better top laner can just straight up force 4-on-4s. And that allows you to say, well, Gragas is not part of this fight. Actually, it's just the engaged team.
That's true. It would just be the engagement parts of their team. And another thing, too, you were talking about the wave clear from Tristana. It's actually a little disregarded or undervalued.
Undervalued, yeah.
It's a lot of wave clear later on in the game with a good range on it compared to what other AD carries would bring to the table. Corki is another one of those champions that has a fantastic amount of wave clear in his kit, and they are going to go for the 2v1 here from SKP.
Okay, interesting. So a very different game coming up for this one. Corki Thresh is a fine lane, but they don't want to take the one of the 2-on-2 matchup. Instead, it's just Rollick so far solo farming, whereas Kikis and Smitty are playing this together right here. I unfortunately don't know the top lane matches well enough to know if Aurelia does lose to Gragas, and that's why they're dodging the matchup here. But He certainly opted into the 2-on-1.
She does a little bit. He's a big lane bully. He can do a lot of your HP in just a combo. And now it's going to allow them to get this buff for themselves. But they already traded.
Got him. Wildcard hit.
I'm actually a little surprised at the lane swap because they are giving Tristana free farm, but she's going to fast shove anyway.
Tristana's early lane isn't even that bad.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, the old quote from Doublelift that if you're down 30 CS in lane, you're winning is false at this point.
I'm just saying the fact that they're giving her free farm is really surprising to me because her late game scaling is just so big. Her middle game...
I just feel like her lane, like, you can't punish it anyway.
It's hard to, because she's just going to continue to push. You could punish it by having a well-timed gank, because she's always pushed up. Like right there, Smitty TP to the turret because he knew he was going to get the experience, and you can't freeze it as Tristana if you put a point into explosive shot.
Right. Yeah. Depending on how you skill up, you can maybe choose to. Kikis, though, wants to play something in the mid lane. Actually gets pinged out, and yet he's not really reacting. There he goes. The flash. Gold card comes in. Cocoon not quite in range. Sencux just walks away from that.
Not enough power behind that Cocoon. Need a little more range.
Yep.
Got the flash from WTFox, though, and Sencux didn't blow his own.
You know, after missing that Cocoon, now Kikis is Cocoon.
Okay.
Out of mana. Huh?
Well, he's gonna get a blue buff.
All right.
No longer Cocoon.
No longer Cocoon. Kikis there. Gets away with a bunch of these guys. Smitty is going to sit in his 1v2, and he's not really heavily punished. In fact, Kobe has got to be careful with explosive shot down just to take turret aggro there. Smitty 11 CS. Doing pretty reasonably. Of course, Gragas another great 1v2, so they're both going to scrape together whatever farm they can.
Sencux now has a little bit of summoner advantage right now in the mid lane. WTFox, though, when you're playing Twisted Fate, you are very liberal with your summoner spells. You're going to get the gold cards, but here's Rollickhead.
And he's going to get some decent damage down. Sencux got to be pretty careful. The 200 HP left in this Orianna does save summoners, so it's now 2 summoners down for the mid lane, but damage is worth it.
Sweaty V is going to see Kikis go by.
Q hits, no backup, though.
Sending a message. It's my part of the river.
Exactly. And you can see that Kikis faithfully retreats and says, "You're right, I'm sorry your mustache is too good for me."
Mustaches beat cocoons every day.
They do seem to. Bam!
Beats cannons too.
Well, if that Q were up right now, Smitty would have to be real careful. But Zaitan is here. The Thresh play is going to come in for this one. Flay does not land onto anything. Sweaty B going to go ahead and make the stun happen onto Zaitan. But here comes the hook anyway. He's got to be pretty careful. Kikis is coming. He's going to make this a 3v2. But here comes Rollickhead as well. Cocoon goes on towards Trish. But now Sweaty B does jump away. Gets a summon heal as well. Exhaust comes down just in case.
It's not a stand behind me. That's jump to safety.
Yep. But that's 3 summoners down for 4EVERZENZYG right now. Z's rather. Pushed back by Wonderwear. And this is actually a one-on-one that I think goes well for Gragas.
It goes decently well. He has a lot of sustain in his kit. He doesn't use too much mana when he wants to clear, and he has good gap closer and poke. And Valkyrie has a much longer cooldown than Body Slam.
So a big concern then maybe for Z's if you can get not enough damage down with just basic attacks. Smitty's being held afloat by the Thresh, 28 CS. Keep in mind there's actually very large kill pressure from Irelia Thresh, so something to keep in mind for 4EVERZENZYG is Elias getting some triple kills.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of blown summoner spells here from SKP, and 4EVERZENZYG, are they going to take advantage of it? Rollickhead attempting to.
Here's the thing actually, is TF's spells, if Vi just chain farmed, Flash and Ghost would be down by the time Vi hits 6.
Yes.
You could get level 6 in about a minute from now, which is before Flash would come back. We're looking at this only. That's true. If they can get it with like a Flash Vault Breaker into Shockwave, nowhere for WTFox to go. He's gonna die. There's no way.
Hand over to Sencux, but here's Kikis.
He wants to get the counter again. Good Flash by Sencux, stays alive. Now Kikis has got to be careful. Does have Flash. He just walks away from that one. So that was a good gank. Didn't need the 6, just needed the Vault Breaker. But now the bottom lane, Flay goes into a Sweaty B. Ignite is on. 1 hit from dead. Gets the kill. Zaitan. Smitty lands his stun, takes a Lantern out, stays up with 200 health right there. And out they go.
And that's a little bit of capitalization on the fact that Sweaty B used both of his summoners last time. And here comes the Elise Bully from Kikis onto Rollickhead.
Cocoon's going to hit a spider, or sorry, hit a little minor wolf instead. And the other one's going to go down. But Kikis does get the steal on the big camp. Game is equal, though.
And this is the whole picking Elise and the entire reason behind it. Now, you can also tower dive with it very effectively. A lot of members down bottom, though.
Oh my gosh, the TF ult is going to be up. Box of gold card. There's the engage on in, and no, my gosh, Kobe's got nowhere to go. Stun comes out. There's the repel. WattFox pulls aggro, but he's going to stay safe. Nicely done, SK Prime.
Well done dive there, well coordinated. Now they're about 500 gold up off that kill. Not a huge lead, but they're going to get anything else from it. They've blown a couple ultimates. They're just going to go ahead and use that gold for some items.
Yeah, so back they go. Items come on through. TF just got back to base, goes back to base one more time. And now he'll make his way to the mid lane. It's going to give Sencooks a bit of time in the mid lane. You see some CS leads because of it. But that's kind of it right there. Kick it just goes back to farming. And at this point, SKP, as long as you just gank every TF ulti, like, it's a great way to create pressure.
Oh yeah, and that would feed right into their style. Where as soon as somebody's up, we're going to take advantage of it. And then if you keep ganking bottom like this, you're going to be able to get yourself a dragon eventually. Whereas 4EVERZENZYG, they want to team fight you before somebody gets picked off. But they want to get that phase where they're able to team fight. It's going to be around that mid-game point. Not quite there yet.
Not just yet, but a roam down from Gragas. Looks like they want to get some kind of fights going on. Does get pinged out by the ward. And WattFox hides toward the south side of his lane. And just some Wraith farming. Wait around for the ulti, no big deal. SKP can play a bit patiently here.
Red buff for Rolling Head here. That's also going to mean that a lot of time by Wonderwear using that mid lane. Just walks straight back up top.
There's kind of a half freeze from Smitty as well right there. The wave not getting cleared very fast. Kick is actually stopping to the moves from Bai. Wow, that hook on a Kobe. I can't believe that one actually landed. Burns the exhaust from Braum to prevent the counterattack. Cocoon's going to whiff. Kickus does get slowed out. Jumps to his blue buff, though. He's going to stay safe. Both junglers 6.
Also shows that the blue buff is up. 4EVERZENZYG might get a little greedy on this and go after it. Smitty is not collapsing. Sencooks is already here.
They've got a pink ward down on the entire team as well. Kick's got to be pretty careful, and he's not in range for anything there. Easy pickup. Smite comes through. Rollickhead's going to claim that one for himself, but here comes the cavalry. Flash, body slam is well used, and they get out safely. 4EVERZENZYG, nicely done.
And they get themselves a blue in exchange for a flash. So they got Sweaty Bees caught. A lot of damage coming into this duo lane.
Blocking some of the rockets, but is it going to be enough? The summoner heal comes out. There's the Valkyrie. One hit from dead.
Wait.
The knockback from Kobe. Flash rocket. The auto attack gets that one. Now Kobe in the 1v1. Q comes out. He's got to run. The rocket's going to land there as well. And Z's goes 2-0 there.
The chase from the phage is just too much. And Z's comes out on top. Are they going to turn this into a dragon? They are.
Yeah.
The early potential from Elise to do this dragon. It's going to be really big for SKP and the capitalization off that play. Really well done. See the hook here coming through. He stepped a little too far forward. Pulled right out of turret range. It's still hitting minions at this point. Zaitan eventually gets it, and then he takes it as long as he can and backs off while Z's just goes straight through and picks up kill for himself. He's showing why he's the carry of this team, and they put so much emphasis on him. Even though the flash came out, he still ate the phosphorus bomb damage.
Exactly. That late flash was really rough for him. Kobe could have survived that just with slightly faster fingers. Pretty unfortunate for him. Sencooks just doing what he can in this mid lane. His lane opponent keeps leaving and doing other things that are really useful, and Sencooks just gets a little bit of turret damage down, but base keeps falling apart in the meantime. So 3,000 gold almost puts SK Prime ahead once more, 11 minutes in. Rollickhead, I don't believe I've seen a Vi ult yet this game. He's unfortunately not found any ways in. Gonna look for the flank attempt on TF right now, but Elise is already there for a counter gank.
There.
Shockwave hits, there's the Q as well. Ulti comes by, this is going to be bad, and down goes WattFox.
Yeah, 2 ultimates used there. And this is kind of the game plan from 4EVERZENZYG, is they want to pick off Twisted Fate, WattFox, in the laning phase while he's just sitting around and doesn't have too much help. Later on, he's not going to be around in the lane. He's going to be teleporting every which way, trying to get kills. And we saw that from WattFox's playstyle. He doesn't like to stay in the lane. He likes to move around. Even when he was playing Orianna, he just moved from the lane. Now he's back. Doesn't have Destiny.
Wow, the hook on a Sweaty Bee, the playmaking of Zaitan. Ulti forced out of Tristana to disengage that. Ulti as well from Braum. Zaitan's carrying this lane.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of synergy in this bottom lane between Zaitan and Z's. They've been playing together since before the summer series even started. They'd been around as a bottom lane. And now Kobe, kind of new to Sweaty Bee as a support.
And they're trying to hold on as best they can, but it's another disadvantage for the lane there. Smitty, Wonderwear, you're actually seeing it go Smitty's way, to be fair. They were in 1v2s for a while, so they got some kind of random interference going on, but right now a level lead and a CS lead. Stun goes back on Wonderwear. He's going to go for the all-in right there. Repops the W. Ulti on as well. One hit from the kill. Flash, he's not in range. Q is 10 seconds away, so no way he gets that one. Bottom turret goes down, though, for Z's, though, in the game. Just continually going SKP's way.
Looking for the finishing kill, though.
Nowhere for the go. That's a kill picked up. Q comes out. Assist still goes to Aurelia. Nicely done, SK Prime.
Fox going with the dash. Even used the ghost to make sure that he would be able to close the distance. Another hook onto Sweaty V. But here's the follow-up.
Rollick had no ultimate. That's going to be the Valkyrie going away, and now Rollick has got to be real careful, though. Half HP. Flay comes back in. Elise making that one happen. Z's actually claims the kill anyway. Senkux comes in, does have Shockwave. Goes for the flash. Does not Shockwave yet because he's baiting out the flash of Zaitan. Gets the ulti down. He can't do it in time, and he gets picked off, but Tristana does claim one back. But here comes the rest of the team. They pick up everybody now. Sweaty B's got to be real careful. One hit from dead, almost in range. Smitty can't quite claim it, but you know what? It's still a bunch of kills in a row. Not a good thing for 4EVERZENZYG.
The teleport in from Smitty. The fact that Wonderwear actually TP'd, but on the bottom side of the fight, and it wasn't a fight that backed up into him at all.
Yep, just completely lost 5-minute cooldown that he couldn't do anything with. Could have gotten turret pressure, but his team is so far behind, they just can't turn fights anymore.
It's the capitalization from SKP again, and the playmaking. 4EVERZENZYG, they haven't made plays. They've been trying to play reactionary, and it's killing them.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen here. We end up seeing Rollick get in there, and Kikis actually misses the cocoon here, but it doesn't end up mattering because the damage, even though he's out of the fight, is just so large. Now watch the teleports that end up coming in after they turn this fight around. The flash comes in and Senkux gets hooked up, can't use his ultimate just yet because he gets cocooned immediately after and dropped. TP comes in, but look at Gragas' TP. He's all the way down the lane and it didn't get back to him. Smitty instead pushes up and they're just pinging Gragas like, oh, well, guess that's awkward. Gotta go home now.
Recalls back behind the Dragon Pit and says, you know what, never mind, guys. I didn't want to do that anyway. And that's the unfortunate thing is, 4EVERZENZYG have been trying to make plays a little bit better than last time.
Yes.
Like, Rollick has part of 3 kills now, 100% kill participation, showed up in the mid lane a couple of times, made great plays to pick up What the Fox. Like, they have picked on that Twisted Fate. They go to the source of the global, good choices, that's all fine. Problem is, basically it's Zaitan. He's gotten so many hooks that have crushed the bottom lane, that have set up easy kills for his team, that it's getting worse and worse and worse for Kobe and Sweaty B.
Well, if you look at the kill participation on all other lanes besides that bot lane, 7 out of the 8 kills Zaitan has been a part of. Top lane, 3. Jungle, 3. Mid lane, 2. He has so much kill participation in comparison to everybody else. All that action has been happening off the back of Zaitan.
Series MVP for me right now, at least in this game for sure, but I remember him playing quite well in game 1 as well. Oriana ball comes out, Senkux trying to zone the team back, but SKP, when they have a gold lead like this, they typically push turrets fairly well. 5,500 gold lead, Dragon up in 40 seconds. SKP actually have very, very few wards out.
Yeah, there's also some level leads here too. 80 carry, 2 up for Z's. Top lane, 2 up for Smitty. They're in a great position to contest dragons. Level 2 ultimate for Smitty. Almost level 2 for Z's here. And that's actually some big damage for Corki with the constant use of the rockets.
Just continue to kind of power through people right there. Easy wave clear, getting himself closer to level 11. Rank 2 rockets actually a pretty important level bump. Level 8 for Sweaty V right here. Okay, he's continuing to power up as well. That's rank 2 on his E finally. Hook's going to come out, lands on him. Zaitan does look for a little bit of the play there, but it's mostly just damage reduction. Not too bad, but there's Dragon. It's come up.
There's no TPs into this. It's going to be a 4-on-4 like you were talking about earlier.
But that's fine for SKP. They're just so far ahead.
They're ready to fight it. Oh, trying to trek their ways down.
Speaking of trying to fight it, Smitty is making Wonderwear really regret life. Half HP on the Gragas. Dragon goes down rather rapidly, and Wonderwear just has to be so afraid the entire time. Well-claimed Dragon. That is a heads-up, let's go 4-on-4 you. But SKP have made such a big gold lead from their early game plays from all the hooks from Zaitan. 4EZ can't contest, so now here's his team that can't play their own type of combat.
Yeah.
And it's like all they get are assault and battery shockwaves.
Yeah, and it ends up being more or less a pick tool instead of a team fight tool. They didn't get it off last time. Instead, they used it just to try and bully What the Fox in the laning phase. He's going deep.
They're going to look for Kobe. Big damage comes through. Has nowhere to go on that one. Kill picked up very cleanly. Nice lantern out. But here's the re-engage on the backhand side. Shockwave. Everything else coming in. Fox is getting killed right now. And Wonderwear in a bit of a 1v2. Far away from his team goes down. Zaitan, though, also cut off. This actually makes it a 2-for-2 overall. That's big for 4EVERZENZYG.
And these shockwaves onto one person that could be used a little bit later. He's just trying to burst people down. More of a pick style here from Senkux with the Goriana.
Just the individual kills is all they're trying to pick up there to get some gold back in. Maybe claim some shutdown bonuses if they can. If they ever find Corky, that'll be good for them. The problem is you have this top laner off on his own, pushing turrets down.
Yeah. Kobe jumped over the wall, and then we saw the Destiny Gate right onto him. He does get buster shotted backwards, but into the turret, so it doesn't go the full distance. Great glacial fissure there, but look at that. Shockwave, 2 ultimates used on just Fox, and Wonderwear at the same time is suffering. He doesn't get a shield from Oriana or a Shockwave follow-up to deal damage, but they do come out on top there for 4EVERZENZYG.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. That entire fight was 4v5.
Yeah.
Irelia was top the entire time, didn't even bother thinking about teleporting in there, just pushed the top lane outer turret down. It's like when you go 2-for-2 in a 4v5, so you know life's getting difficult for you.
Yeah, it's really rough right now for 4EVERZENZYG. Came out on top in terms of the fighting, but in terms of objective, lose the top lane, and there's a ton of pressure from this Irelia who's just hitting item spikes now.
That is going to make your life pretty painful. 19 minutes in, Trinity Force and Zerker Greaves are done versus just the Rod of Ages.
The CS differences here are just killing this team for 4EVERZENZYG right now.
Oh my god.
Not even 100 for Tristana yet. He's almost at the 5 per minute mark.
That is rather rough. 19 minutes in, 99 minions there.
He's been shut down.
Yeah, I mean, he has
great play by Z's and Zaitan.
Yep.
Oh, 4,000 gold.
Oh my gosh. I rarely see 80 carries get doubled in gold in games, but that's basically the case right now. Life very painful for Kobe. He's going to have such a late Infinity Edge, a late everything really for the guy. Just trying to limp into this game as best he can. Mid lane under fire some more for SKP. They're playing the Siege game they played last game. That went fairly well for them.
Right now, Z's has an entire Trinity Force up in terms of build over Kobe. Kobe does, he is sitting on about 1,400 gold. But man, Tristana's a late game champion, and at this rate, it would have to be super late game. You'd have to go complexity style games for this.
At this rate, his late game comes in at 80 minutes exactly. So you got to be real careful right now when you're 4EVERZENZYG. You just don't have much damage output aside from Vi and Oriana hit R. Like that's your way in. Nice attempted steal there by the explosive cask, but no, Smite makes that go to kick us here. And we sit on a 9,000 gold lead. SK Prime have slowed down ever so slightly. They're playing Sieges more now that their opponents are so defensive, stuck inside their base. You can't always TF hold on top of the enemy team.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't have his Zonias yet. It looks like what he'll be going for after this. He has a needlessly large rod and a cloth armor. And then he can do some Messiah plays. Hopefully they don't end up like Jez's, though.
Yeah, those are rough. It was definitely a game you could have won, too. You got to feel sad for the SK fans out there. But
hey, SK
if you
Prime's
are,
gonna bring it home.
Exactly. I mean, SK Prime are differentiating themselves by SKP by playing arguably a better set of TF games right now.
Yeah, and Fox, 2-3-1 right now. He's put himself in this situation where he's at a 1 KDA, and he's down in CS over his lane opponent. But the fact that he's given those kills over and he's created objective picks.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's a player who's like doing horribly. Like when he's dying, it's because he's taking literally Vi Oriana ult by himself.
Yes.
Like literally every time is a shockwave on just him with Vi setting it up. And like those kills are gonna happen. Like they picked that combo for a reason, is to pick you off. Fox only dying 3 times and yet making enough plays by himself. I still give him props for it. I think he is playing largely quite nicely.
Now he has his own.
Right.
So if you use Vi ultimate on him, he can cancel it.
Both are telegraphed.
Yeah.
Shockwave and Assault and Battery, both of them are telegraphed. Fox could theoretically cancel at least one every single time.
Now we're going to have to see what they end up doing with that. Fox up in the top lane, though, split pushing, wave clearing, and they're going for the 1-3-1 now with this advantage.
All right, he feels just safe enough. Blue cards, blue buff there as well, and he's getting some decent damage down. Just lock whenever he can. He's got the mana to spare. Doesn't really matter what card you throw at the turret. Ulti goes in towards Z's. He's got to be careful, but the lantern keeps him safe, and now Senkux. The back line's got to be careful. Kick is running away as well. Hook onto Sweaty B, but they are outnumbered, so they're going to back off for now. Turret goes down, though.
And WattFox looks for the wave clear. Still, he gets himself the turret. That's the 5th of the game for SKP. And the 4EVERZENZYG, 10k gold down. They're kind of just swarming right now, trying to find something to do.
And unfortunately, they just don't seem to have the way in. They tried the Assault and Battery, but there was a Thresh there. If they Assault and Battery the other lane, well, there's a Zhonya's Hourglass. Just the options are dwindling right now for 4EVERZENZYG. Sweaty B walks in, predicts the turret for a little bit, but he's only so durable. Backs right onto that one, and another turret goes down. Flips the hook onto Wonderwear. This could be a kill. Repel into the air. Z's goes backwards, and Rolligan is going to go down rapidly. Shockwave on the 2. Kickus almost goes down, but he gets out actually. The hook on a Kobe pulls him back in. Yep, that's how that one works. Kobe's got to be careful. The jump in by Z's can't quite claim another kill. Flash has traded everywhere. Only a 1 for 0 so far.
And there comes WattFox. He has it available. Where's he going?
Wow, all the way into the base. Takes down Orianna. He's gonna die, but hey, it looks cool.
Ooh. Man, the just dominance right now from SKP
it's a little excessive.
Over a team fight composition is very impressive. 4EVERZENZYG didn't get off the ground. There's nothing that Kobe can really do in these fights. He's just hit his 1-item plateau, or spike, and now he's kind of plateauing off. His gold generation just isn't there.
Oh man, well you gotta see if they can keep powering up though to keep themselves in a better spot. You've got a 12,500 gold lead for SKP though. Like overall, it just keeps working.
Yeah, and we said Zaitan's hooks this game have been phenomenal. That one was fantastic onto Wonderwear. Shockwave comes to the back line. This one right here. He hooks Kobe. Kobe jumps and he pulls him down to the ground.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere. You scorpion to that guy.
You got shields enough though, and you can see right there's Sweaty B protecting him with the giant shield, and the command protect as well from Sencooks do keep him alive.
Oh. WattFox does it too. He says, "Get over here!" and gets him underneath the turret.
He didn't need to flash out. He wanted to try to survive with that one, but he could have kept the summoner up, and that would have been arguably better for the guy. Baron attempt, though, and no one is around to look for it. Great control now by SKP. They've got TF ult in the mid lane. Wave clearing, preventing vision. Spitting in the bottom lane as well with teleport. He's actually going to be trapped out, though.
Sencooks and Wonderwear looking for Smitty. Smitty has a lot of movement speed with the training force.
Yeah, and with the Banshees as well, it's very hard to catch something.
For the counter, though.
Ooh. There's 3 right there. He can't.
Is he a brave man?
No.
He's dove turrets before. There were 2 of them.
Yeah, but that was a 1-on-1 versus a 12 HP target. This one is 1v3, and he would die. So, correct sort of temperance there by WattFox. Z's now the split push in the top lane. Corki actually one of the better split pushing AD carries. He doesn't push super fast because he has no attack speed buffs, but he's so safe. He's like generally fairly long range, can wave clear really quickly, and then his escapes are actually quite good.
Yeah, and then a lot of his damage, he just has all 3 types moving through.
Yeah, he can duel some of the champions on the map right now. You can outplay a lot of them. Especially when you're ahead like this. You have the second highest CS in the game, basically.
He could duel Tristana right now.
Yes, he could.
Easy. Just look at the item difference. They both have IE. Take those out of the equation. He's got
the rest
Phage,
of the Triforce.
The Sheen, the combination, the upgraded boots, and a Negatron cloak over him. Yeah. That's a lot of gold.
It's a bit of a lead there for him. Kobe takes a rocket to the face. Z's up 4 levels, by the way. 15 to 11. That's actually bigger than you would expect for an AD carry, but means quite a lot when you're a spellcaster.
He's about to hit level 3 ultimate when Kobe just hit level 2.
Yep. It's a painful situation. Baron buff stats as well. 2.5 minutes left on that one. Cocoon just barely misses. Siege will continue. 15,000 gold lead. 26 minutes in. SK Prime looking good. More spam coming out. These guys are poised to 2-0 this one. 4EVERZENZYG, by the way, if they want to make postseason playoffs, they actually have to win this match. They're only sitting on 2 points right now in the standings. So their playoff hopes rest on a massive comeback right now.
Which would be incredibly huge. Right now, Sencooks is kind of their way back into this game and to stall off because everybody else is just down in levels. Sencooks actually held pretty even with WattFox, but he got all of the attention of Worldly Cat in the mid lane. Almost another hook there on Kobe.
It's going to be the top lane inhibitor turret going down. Sweaty B's got to run away to some minions to keep himself safe. Sencooks is not able to defend this nearly in time. Wonderwear walks by as well, but Smitty's been pushing the mid lane the entire time. 4EVERZENZYG just getting split apart right there. Half the health, and that turret's gone now. And in comes the TF for even more of this punishment. Their base is slowly falling apart. Cocoon under Wonderwear, good damage, down to 1/2. Hook's going to land as well. Will they go in for this one? There comes the assault and battery from Vi, but out goes Z's. Keep himself alive just safely. Now Sweaty B in the front lines is not all that tanky. Z's picks up another kill. He is dominating. Rolling Head about to get crushed as well. Has to run back to the base hook. Just barely misses onto the top laner here. And that's the first inhibitor down 27 minutes in.
And there's a little bit of a wave here, but look at that. What the Fox, he's going for it.
Oh, the flash is not enough. What the Fox claims the kill. Nicely done here. Now, this turn's going to go down as well. Second inhibitor could surely follow. And SK Prime about ready to close this one out. Looks like the teleport's coming in. Could be a surrender, but these guys know it's over. 27.5 minutes faster than the last time. SKP switch the styles up and win just as convincingly.
What the Fox threw out the barrel there at the end, pouring one out for his homies.
Why not?
That's their playoff right there. Completely gone, but SKP clinched their spot.
They're in. SKP are in, and they can only go farther from here. We'll see them next week against H2K in the semifinals. That'll be the chance at vengeance for these guys, actually, if they can bring the series back. They do look pretty strong, but they're going to have to keep this sort of train going. Kikis has got to keep making the good plays. They've got to keep making good decisions. And, heck, if you're 4EVERZENZYG in this match, you can just look at that next week and say, what could we have done differently? When we go back at this in spring next year, what are the things that we see punished? And just learn, right? And you keep trying.
Yeah, and SKP used to be a team that was all about Zs from start to finish. Mm-hmm. Granted, this time it was Z's and Zaitan for a large portion of it. Yeah. But Kikis deserves a lot of credit here. He's a very good pickup for the team. I don't know how much time they've had to mesh with him, probably somewhere around a week or two.
Yeah.
But he's still a fantastic pickup on the team. He's gelled with them perfectly so far and is exactly what they needed in terms of shot calling, in terms of what they capitalize on, and the play style that they've adopted having him on the roster as opposed to somebody very aggressive like Broken Shark.
Yeah, and I am glad to see that they're playing different styles as well. Game one, very, very teamfight focused, relying on the Orianna, relying on Jarvan to initiate the fights, and say, you know, we'll play it slow, and then go for the dragon fights. This time around, they say, you know what, let's actually split the game up. Of course, they got to rely on individual skill, which is just a mark of your players more so than your team. But when the opportunities were there, you saw them pretty relentlessly go for these dives, go for these playmaking moves, and that is a good sign for a team.
Oh, yeah. And it's not overly aggressive. It's not something where you're trying to force the play. Exactly. It's not reckless. It's very calculated. It's very kind of, I'm going to check in with you. Can you back me up? All right, confirmed. Let's go do this now. And they know that they can do it, and they don't do it unless their success rate is very high.
Yeah, and so far, so good for SK Prime. We'll see them in the semis next week. Now, after today's matchup, let's see how the bracket shapes up. With that win, as we mentioned, SK Gaming Prime advances to the semifinals, and they're going to face H2K Gaming next week on July 24th. SKP have clinched a playoff spot in the postseason, but they can play for seeds now.
And we'll find out who will square off against Ninjas in Pajamas in the semis when Ocelots Gamers 2 match up with Playing Ducks tomorrow.
It's going to be a whole bunch of fun, but even before that, there's more LCS action that's going to get underway as Copenhagen Wolves take on SK Gaming. Then Millennium goes up against Rockhouse.
Then it's Super Hot Crew versus Alliance and Gambit Gaming against Fnatic. It all starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European